With the addition of a new little one to our family this holiday season, it's allowed me to reflect on what Christmas really means to me. I've recognized that with each passing year, the excitement has migrated from gift getting and giving to the truer, deeper meaning and focus of the season. To me, when I think of Christmas time, I think of things that I'm grateful for and all the blessings that I've been given. One of those blessings is family. I'm really thankful for my husband and for our two beautiful daughters and the opportunity that we have to move through life together as a family. I'm grateful for my extended family. I am very thankful for the family that I was born into and the one that I married into. And I feel like there are a few things in life that are as rewarding and are as important as good family relationships. It's really neat to see the growth and development of your kids. This is really the first year, with Emma being 2, that she has kind of got perked up and excited about Christmas time. I remember we were driving around on Thanksgiving and people had their lights turned on to their homes, and just the excitement and joy that she got from seeing everything. She was oohing and aahing, "Ooh, ah, Mama, look!" It got, like, it was so fun for her that she had to point it out to Jeff and then to me, and her 2-week-old little Aubrey had to see everything as well. It's really fun to see how just the magic of the holiday excites her. After seeing the lights as each thing came up, like the Christmas tree and our own home decorations, it was great to see her joy and excitement because it made everything so worthwhile. When I think back on my favorite memories at Christmas time, I think more and remember more the people that I was with and the experiences I experienced with them as opposed to anything that I ever received. And I'm sure that this memory with Emma, with her being excited about Christmas, is going to be one of those treasured memories for me. I'm grateful for my relationship with each of you and how you've influenced my life in such a positive way. During this holiday season, and particularly this night, we're going to take a trip down memory lane and see what Christmas time is all about and reflect on those important blessings of life.
Okay, this is going to be my 66th Christmas. And in my lifetime, all the Christmases I've had have formed a really beautiful mosaic. And there isn't one, well, there are a few that stand out, but they stand out for different reasons. And I think one that really stood out the most was when I was in seminary. Our seminary class got together and decided we were going to go caroling, and we went down to the south side of town, and that's where, I don't want to say the poorer people, but the more humble dwellings were. And we went into this home that the seminary teacher knew there was a woman who was an invalid that lived there. And we got to the home, and there was no sign of Christmas or anything, even though we were like 2 or 3 days away from Christmas. And we went into the house, and a man was there trying desperately to make hot chocolate for all the kids that had come to his home. And some of them were in the kitchen, and the other half, which the half I was in, went through the house to a back porch. And that was a makeshift bedroom for this woman. And I can't remember how old she was, but she was older. And it was cold back there because they hadn't done it was a porch that hadn't been insulated or anything, and she was in a hospital bed. And I noticed how dirty and everything seemed to look, and it was dark. The only light was coming from a bulb that hung on the end of an electric wire. And her hospital bed had those triangular shaped things that you hold on to pull yourself up. And we started singing Christmas carols, and I think we were singing Silent Night, and there was the most peaceful, calm, beautiful feeling that came over all of us. And she sat there and smiled at us, and even though there weren't all the trappings of Christmas like a tree and tinsel and lights and stuff, we felt, every one of us, the spirit of Christmas that year. And to me, that will always be a very beautiful memory to me.
Oh, I always enjoyed Christmas. Starting from when I was growing up in the islands, we spent a whole night with playing games and things. Then at 12 o'clock, we all separate and go home and have a prayer at home and have food. And after that, we go back and just mess around, play games with the boys, and just play it in until the next morning. It was fun. The funnest time of the year. You just all together, all night long.
When I was, I think, 7 or 8, we used to go down to when the big Fred Meyer down there, kind of by where McKee's used to live. You used to enter through the west side, and Mom and Dad would give us each like $20 and then a couple hours to walk around Fred Meyer and find what it is that we wanted. But we had $20 for what we wanted to buy for the entire family. And I remember once I had gone through and found for Mom what I thought would be cool. It was a tin. It was a Christmas tin with which to hold her buttons. It was red. It had with a white top and a red candle. And I was so excited about this tin for some reason, because I just thought it was something cool that she could keep her buttons in. And so I had gone through and I'd purchased it. I'd purchased, I think I went through and I would get these things as I found them. I wouldn't wait and go through the checkout once. I would find something and check it out and then go back and go shop some more. I was told that at that point that was just a stupid gift. It just crushed me inside because it was too late. The money was spent. And to think that this person wouldn't enjoy getting this just hurt. So I found my mom. I started crying. I'm crying now. I started crying then because I was so excited about getting this gift. And I found my mom. And I really just wanted to say it was stupid. In my little mind, it was too late. Spent the money, gift was bought, stupid gift, and I'm out of money. So I found her and I told her and I said I was sorry that I had found this stupid gift. And she said, you know what? It's not a stupid gift. I love it. I will use it. And I will pretend like I forgot, and don't you worry about that. I love it. Don't you worry about it. It's not a stupid gift. And at that moment, all that excitement I had about giving that gift came back. And I was excited about Christmas again, and giving this gift as excited as I was before. But I thought it was stupid. And I think maybe even today, if you were to open Mom's closet in the back, she's still keeping her buttons in that tin that I gave her. But each time now that I buy a gift or gift giving is something that you want to do for someone. It's allowing them, it's almost a service in the way to show you, allow them to show you how much they love them, and allowing them to get excited about a gift that you give. So today, that's how I view gifts because of that experience. So that was a nice Christmas gift my mom gave me.
One that comes to mind easily is one on my mission, where the first Christmas away from home, it was in my first area of the mission in Masatanango. And what sticks out to me was not necessarily Christmas Day, but was the activities on Christmas Eve night. And the tradition in Guatemala is to I mean, everybody makes tamales, and so you end up with tamales wherever you go. And we ended up with, 20 or 30 tamales. And they make a big deal of blowing off huge fireworks. Mostly, I think they'd probably classify as bombs here, but in Guatemala they're just firecrackers. But some of them are, about that round and that long, or there's some that are triangle shaped. And I remember everybody starts lighting them off at about 10 to midnight, and it doesn't stop until about 12:30, and it's a constant popping throughout the entire city. And I remember lighting one and throwing it next to a house and worrying that I was going to bust the windows, and then I remembered, oh wait, they don't have windows. It's okay. So that was a fun one.
As a kid growing up, my parents would want us to wake them up before we went out and saw what presents Santa had brought, because they wanted to film and record what they saw. And I remember one particular year we woke up and had to wake our parents up, which always takes a little bit of time because it takes them, a couple minutes to get up and ready, and a couple minutes to get the camera set up, and so it's kind of agonizing as a kid. But I remember we went out and just had our normal Christmas morning where we saw what Santa brought, and we opened the gifts from the family, and then we went and had breakfast. And after things kind of settled down a little bit, my dad approached my brother and I and told us that we needed to get working on some chores. And one of those chores was huge pile of towels that was sitting on our couch. Now on Christmas Day, you're not really thinking about, what chores need to be done or anything like that. And so for him to say that, we just kind of kept putting him off and wanted to keep, playing with the toys that we had and just kind of enjoying the morning. And he just kept getting on us. You need to go fold your towels. And my time came because I was in the same room as him and I couldn't avoid him any longer. And so I remember walking over to the towels and I started folding them. And not too long after that, my brother was walking in the room and I found a little ticket that was in the towels. And I pulled him out and looked at him, and they were tickets to Disneyland. And when I looked at it, I remember the date was just a few days from Christmas, and I started screaming, "We're going to Disneyland!" And when I said that, my brother came running over, and we folded all our towels really quickly and tried to find some more tickets in there. And we found enough for our whole family for a couple days worth at Disneyland. And it was a really neat way to find a gift, and was a memory that I'll always treasure. And it did teach me to do my chores. You'll never know what you may find in them.
Probably the most fun I've had on a Christmas morning was, we were thinking 2000. I thought it was earlier than Karen says 2000, so 2000 it is. Anyway, that was the year that I got Karen her life-sized Laura Croft statue from Germany, and I had to work with Beverly to get it into came from Germany, and it was delivered to Beverly's house. And she hid it for me until like 2 days before Christmas, and then I had to wait until Karen was gone and go get it and drag it down to the basement and hide it. And it's huge; it's 6 feet tall, and it's all put together. So Christmas Eve, and we spent the evening with you guys up at your house, and that was one of my first experiences with the Mulitalo Christmas family evening. So we came home and got ready for bed. Had to wait for Karen to go to sleep. She finally went to sleep. She's just like a little kid at Christmas. I just love it. She's just like a little wriggling around. But anyway, so we got her to sleep. I got up, went downstairs, and pulled this thing out of the basement, brought it upstairs and put it all together and set it up by the fireplace in the house in Bountiful. We had the Christmas tree in one corner, and it was just to the side, right between the fireplace and the front door. So went back upstairs, went to bed. Probably 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh, boing! Here goes Karen's eyes. It's Christmas morning, and like I said, little kid. She starts wriggling around and trying to wake me up without actually going, "Hey, get up!" It's Christmas morning. So she tries and tries and tries, and of course I'm awake, but I'm acting like I'm asleep. So she finally gives up and goes, and gets up and starts heading down the stairs. And as soon as she'd gone around the corner and started down the stairs, I got up to follow her. And I hear this scream from downstairs. And I guess when she got down there, all the lights were off. I can't remember if the Christmas tree was on or not. But anyway, I guess she gets to the bottom of the stairs, and all she can see is this human silhouette pointing a gun at the stairs. And I guess she thought there was a burglar in the house or something. So that was. Then when she found out what it was, she was real happy about it. That's something that she wanted ever since she saw it. It was just funny the way that played out for us. So that's probably one of my fondest Christmas experiences. Was the way that whole thing played out for us.
Well, it was in fact last year when I was stricken with a virus, and I was put out for a couple of weeks, and it was really crappy. And I regret it because I missed the Christmas Eve dinner, which I really like. But I was really grateful that I had the opportunity to take part in the Christmas lesson, and eventually I got through it.
All right, a fond Christmas memory that I have. We come from a family large with traditions, and as I can think about many of them, certainly this Christmas Eve tradition which we have, steak dinners and the nativity sharing is the most significant, but there are a few others that were meaningful to me growing up. We decorated the tree annually about the same time. I remember it wasn't too far after my birthday, and every year we'd get a new ornament, and mine ranged from a wooden basketball to a BYU ornament of some sort, and whatever my interests were during that time. And the same applied for everyone else. And I still have that ornament that Kanako gave us, a little purple dangly thing. But nevertheless, those ornaments are actually kind of reflective of a period of time in my life where I probably wouldn't remember much, frankly, of a lot of things that I experienced other than it would be for these ornaments. So for that, I'm deeply appreciative and grateful. And I also remember eating the KFC afterwards as we were decorating the tree as a family with the turnovers. Those were good and happy memories.
I remember the Christmas when Dad had his brain tumor out. And we were so excited to have him home on Christmas Day. I think we waited for him to get home, and then we were going to open our presents. And I remember that he laid there on the couch and pretty much didn't do anything, and it was different. And it wasn't the Christmas I wanted. I wanted Dad to come home and at least be somewhat like Dad, but he wasn't. But it was interesting, and we were grateful to have him at that point. So
I think the Christmas of my childhood that has the most lasting impact on my life was the year that Dad moved to Minnesota to teach college. I remember him sitting me down before he left, telling me that I was his eldest son, and as such, it was my job to make sure the family was safe and spiritually protected. I felt an incredible sense of duty in his absence, and no sooner had he left for the Midwest did I start missing him and his influence immensely. As I recall it, we were trying the best we could to make ends meet, which meant that the Sunday phone calls were generally cut short, but each one of them of highest value. Knowing that the next time we would see Dad seemed to make time idle through the autumn, but after enduring the months, it was time for him to come home. Mom warned us that year that Christmas was going to be sparse because we needed to use the money to bring Dad home. This thought, particularly as a young boy in the electronics discovery time of life, didn't settle well, but I knew that bringing Dad home was important. It wasn't until we saw him step off of the airplane at Salt Lake International that it hit me. Having my father home was the best Christmas gift I could ever imagine. Just being in his presence again made me feel safe, protected, and loved. I didn't know how much he meant to me until he was home again. Although he was living on a ramen budget in Minnesota, he still found a way to buy us all Gustavus Adolphus sweatshirts. Although I couldn't even pronounce it or explain to anyone what it meant, I wore it like a security blanket. It was a reminder of my dad and what he meant to me. I wish I still had that maroon sweatshirt because it represented the best Christmas of my youth.
The whole Christmas Eve tradition, I really like it. I like it. I get a lot out of it. It's nice to see the family group get together and share that with each other. And the way you've got it set up so that there's always, the dinner and the socializing and then the presentation or lesson from one of the family members. I think that really goes a long way towards keeping the Mulitalo family close together. You guys are, it's just unbelievable. It's all something new to me. But I really enjoy it. I get a lot out of it, and I think I'm very fortunate to be part of it. Sorry I won't be there this year. I wish I could be. You have to take that up with my nurse manager, and we won't get into that. I know what you're thinking. We have a word for her. We can't use that word on the video. Not on Christmas Eve. It's not a nice word, but it's an appropriate word. Anyway, just like I said though, just being part of that really means a lot to me. It's a very special time, and it's all new. It was all new to me. It feels very like it's always should have been there, even though it wasn't. So I thank all of you, the whole Mulitalo family, for bringing me into that and letting me share that with you. It means a lot.
Oh yeah, the thing that I liked the most were the steaks. I forget about a lot of other things, but the steak, yeah, because most of the times around the year we don't eat that good stuff. So, I look forward to that. I hope we do that every year, because that way I know I'll make it to the next year. If I know that there's steaks every year, I'm gonna make it every year to be sure that the steaks are eaten.
I love the tradition, and I especially love the dinner because it's good. Grandma is a really good cook, and I especially love the present giving because we each have an opportunity to find out what one person likes and what the other likes as well, and I also like the dessert. The dessert is always the best.
I think that it's always, it's always special because we were going to, we used to go and see the lights before. I don't know if anybody remembers that. But we used to go to Temple Square and see the lights and then come home and cook the steaks and stuff like that. But it's just as always the one time of year, the one evening of the year where we're all get together and have that special feeling, and there's always the one where we're eating our dinner and I can't remember now if it was Jeff or Ray, who was like really not feeling good, and hasn't eaten that much, and just then let out this huge belch, and then said, okay, yeah, now I'm ready to keep going. He cracked up. That was cute. And now it's just funny because now that I think about that, whoever it was very young, but it doesn't seem like that long ago in terms of thinking of all those evenings. So time goes by fast.
The Christmas Eve tradition is special, I think, more specifically in the way that it integrates those who've joined our family through marriage and the grandchildren, and such that they are given just as much of an opportunity to participate in things that those who had been for the duration of our lives. I can't remember a time where we didn't have the Christmas Eve tradition of some sort. Maybe perhaps there was a time in the family when we didn't have the nativity structured, as it were. But I can remember as a youth, my brothers and sisters teaching the nativity, and I always kind of wondered how they knew so much about it, and what good examples they were to me, and what a special experience it is to, have the opportunity to, not only eat the steak with everyone, but to have heard from Chris and Rick and Jody, and have them teach us of the nativity, their own different perspectives, each of them with value, each of them with relevance, and each of them edifying. And it's a wonderful tradition. I don't think there's anything to really compare to it, at least in our family. And I'm grateful that we've held strong to this and made it what it is.
I just know how special it is for us. Your dad, especially your dad, wanted it to be something that he, coming from not here in the United States, he wanted it to be something more Christ. He felt we needed Christ in our Christmas celebration more than just a bunch of gifts. And we started off having a beautiful dinner together. And of course, it wasn't steak when we started because that wasn't good for the kids, and we were poor. And then we started adding in, we had our dinner, and then we'd go in and start talking about the real meaning of Christmas, and always read the Luke account of the Nativity. And and then gradually we never did exchange gifts on Sunday. Or on Christmas Eve. We always did it the next morning, so that part didn't get added till later when we started drawing names, when the family got bigger and more people got married and everything. Then we started adding that part, which kind of added a little frosting to the whole thing. But for me, the best part is when we discuss the different aspects of Christmas and Christ and what he did for us.
As a kid, I always remember wanting to eat dinner by candlelight, even if it was something simple like waffles or macaroni and cheese. And it didn't really happen too often just because it's not convenient and, probably expensive after a while. And so it didn't really happen too often. And I remember walking in to the dinner the very first evening, and the table was completely immaculate and decorated amazingly, and we ate dinner by candlelight, and it completed the whole scenario to me. It was a breathtaking scene, and the food was good, and it just kind of completed the whole evening, which I love. Having only participated in the 24th celebration like 6 or 7 years, it's been a neat experience for me just because I'm amazed at all the different avenues that family members are able to pull out of the Nativity. Each one can find their own unique thing to implement into it and to kind of make it a more predominant part of our lives. For instance, Ray's key. I still have it on my keychain, which I think is a neat reminder, and that's something that I would never have come across or even thought about, and just how everybody can pull out different unique areas that kind of build up the nativity year after year and make it, the story it was meant to be. And I'm grateful for that influence in my life.
Well, it's a wonderful tradition. We didn't have that in my home. We had other traditions, mostly on Christmas Day. And so having that Christmas Eve get-together is a wonderful thing. Of course, the food is always great, and what can you say about eating? It's wonderful. But it's also nice to get Christmas started off on the right foot by focusing on the appropriate spirit and recognizing just how blessed we are. Not just the fortunate circumstances we have materially, but mostly the family and being able to have that blessing in our lives is great. It's nice to be reminded of it.
I feel that some of the most spiritually uplifting moments of my life have come from our family's Christmas Eve tradition. I don't know that I could pinpoint a single Christmas Eve that holds more significance over another, because each has brought its own special light to my life. I think what I enjoy most is the overall reverence that it brings to each Christmas, and how it always brings back into focus that which we are celebrating. I am very grateful to our parents for starting this tradition so early in our lives. Our spiritual lessons have gone from 4 little kids listening to our parents explain the birth of our Savior while gathered around a cardboard cutout nativity to some of the most inspired thoughts prepared by our families over the years. Christmas Eve is the most special and important time that I feel we spend together as a family. Out of all of the traditions we have, I feel this is the one that I hold closest to my heart.
Oh, I love Christmas Eve. It's a great way to start the traditional Christmas celebration because it's spiritual, it's family, it's good food, but I appreciate the spiritual part of it, that we sit down and really reflect and have people do their own takes on the Christmas story, because I feel that's a perfect way to go into ripping open presents on the Christmas day.
One of the best memories I have of being taught about the Nativity is actually when Rick and Karen were teaching at the Christmas Eve night, and they gave it from the perspective of the innkeeper. I don't know if you remember that, but I thought that was a fresh perspective, at least for my part. I hadn't heard that side of it before. And thinking about the sacrifices made by the innkeeper and the willingness to be open, and even in dire circumstances where there wasn't room, and yet had to make some sense of